Hey guys, your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. I've had a bit of a stressful day today because I haven't really, I've been procrastinating a bit too much. I try and take on too much as ever. I don't know if that's a dyslexia thing or just a Michael thing, but anyway, or just a me thing. But I'm sure it's a lot of dyslexic people, probably, or people with neurodiverse conditions and mental health problems suffer from the same sort of condition. But yeah, I haven't really managed to plan out my goals, and I tried to be a bit more miscellaneous rather than pre-planning things. And a lot of time that's why I do things in list form sometimes, because many times because it helps me to organize myself. But anyway, this video really is a reattempt at trying to discuss dyslexia where I didn't plan it as well as I wanted to before. But yeah, so I did want to discuss with people from Africa and Asia and Ireland about dyslexia. I've been trying to get in touch with them and trying to get them on board so that they can so we do like a split screen discussion on Zoom or Skype or whatever. They teach me how to use it because I'm not very good at tech, as I have been planning for a while. I did actually want to do that in August, but I haven't quite managed to do that. So I'm hoping someone will come on board and we'll be able to discuss dyslexia and related conditions on or whatever that we want to discuss. And I did try and make a plan. So say today was going to be the intro to how I have planned to discuss dyslexia and related conditions, and then tomorrow I wanted to have a theme on like business, dyslexic people in business, and then on Wednesday, because of my superstitions, because it's the 13th, I wanted to talk about some of the more negative sides of dyslexia, or the traits or the challenges dyslexic people face and where we're weaker at. And ironically, it would be on Wednesday. Well, if I get to do it, it is on Wednesday, so it would be quite an irony about the struggles we face in terms of reading, writing, arithmetic, maths, confidence, self-esteem, because of mainly or a lot of the time because of the academic system or because of our peers not understanding us, even in adult life, in like business or in workplaces or things like that. So yeah, so I wanted to, that was like my plan, then talk about goal setting and things like that. So a different sort of theme for each day. But anyway, for today I want to discuss like what dyslexia is, in my opinion. And dyslexia comes from the Greek word, or it's really like one word in two or even three, which is difficulty with, and lexia, which is languages, words and letters and things like that. And then there's sort of number dyslexia, if you like, which is dyscalculia, which is for people who struggle with numbers and maths, arithmetic, and obviously and things like that to do with maths, even possibly even understanding numbers or things like that. Or it can probably affect people at different levels. Ironically, there are dyslexic people, however, who have overcome those problems and can even become writers or authors, or whichever term you prefer. I've heard of quite a few dyslexic people who have actually become writers because we're quite creative, especially if we find ways around our problems, like spell checker or people we know and trust and love can edit our documents or whatever, or writing, or yeah, ghostwriters or people like that. So, but dyslexia really, as I say, is difficulty with words, with languages, words and things like that, even in our native language, where I think the actual definition, you can probably Google this online, and there's probably different people have different definitions of it. But that's, I think, quite a negative definition in a way, and it's only part of the condition, because what it is, we think in pictures instead of words, and we perceive imagination as reality. So dyslexic people, that's probably one of the reasons why we're very creative. And there is some debate about this, but it's said that we are right-brained, so our right brains are more predominant, which controls the left side of our body, so it goes diagonally. So many people with dyslexia are left-handed or left-footed, or sometimes ambidextrous. Like me, I write with my right hand, play football with my left foot. Predominantly, it's much more stronger than my right foot, my left foot, sorry, and my right hand is more stronger and more able, if you like, for want of a better word, than my left hand, for things like writing or if I was playing tennis or whatever. But when I play something like billiards, pool or snooker or whatever, I use my left hand instead. So it's a strange sort of thing, and probably sometimes I use my left hand without realizing, like if I was playing the guitar, maybe if I ever learned to play the guitar or things like that, I'd probably use my left hand as well. So yeah, so I'd love to hear from other dyslexic people as well, like if you have some things like that. I think a lot of dyslexic people probably have that, where they can be left-handed for some things and right-handed for others. I don't know if it's just a dyslexia thing, but I think it's a trait a few people share. And but yeah, to me, dyslexia also means, as well as to start with some of the negatives, I think we do struggle with things like reading, writing, possibly arithmetic, and in academia we struggle, especially at early stages. And if people don't pick up dyslexia, or many schools don't understand about dyslexia, so I think we do struggle academically, even in some places, in workplaces, we can be a bit slower at some areas. But I think many people think we're slow overall, but there are many areas where dyslexic people are good at. And I think if you have a dyslexic student, or someone in your family with dyslexia, or someone you know with dyslexia, to encourage them is to say, I think would be good. And this probably goes for not just dyslexics, but any sort of, especially young people, but people are generally, to look at what they're good at and what they're strong at, and to utilize those strengths to talk about. Like I say, it could be that they're creative, or even non-dyslexic, as I say, even a non-neurodiverse person, a neurotypical person, someone without any learning disabilities like dyslexia or A.D.H.D, or any known learning disabilities. I think it's still best to look at what people are good at as much as you can, although you do have to acknowledge that they have weaknesses. So dyslexic people are not being lazy or whatever, or even stupid or anything like that, or thick or dumb or anything like that. If we forget your names, or we struggle with things that other people would find simple, we might actually be able to do other things which other people find really hard. We might be able to do that well. So there's many dyslexic people in business, which is a really hard area. Most people struggle to run. Most people never even try to run a business, but the ones that do, most of them, or once they do fail, they give up or whatever. So dyslexic people can be really tenacious, creative, hardworking. In my case, probably not the latter, but and have many strengths, and organizations like Made by Dyslexia and Dyslexia Advantage, where I've talked about before, talk about that in great detail, about how, and have conferences and summits where they have famous and successful dyslexic people who have done really well. People like Richard Branson talk about the strengths of dyslexia more than the weaknesses, and knowing your strengths and weaknesses, and how you can work with other people, and how he's achieved so much, mainly because of his dyslexia rather than in spite of it. So just trying to think if there's any other sort of things I would think about dyslexia. But yeah, so dyslexia, the word means, it's kind of one word that becomes two or even three, because if you split dyslexia into two, it becomes dys and lexia, which is difficulty with, and then lexia. So that's sort of three words rolled into one. I actually like the word dyslexia, but many people say for people who are severely dyslexic, it's probably quite hard to spell. So it's I think Richard Branson himself said, so for people with who struggle with reading and writing, it's quite a hard word to spell. But but dyslexic people have done some great things. Richard Branson has created loads of companies. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he has created loads of companies. He is a hardworking and driven person, I'm sure. That's how he got to where he is. He might have done some things that some people disagree with, but he is quite a role model in some ways. And he's built an airline. Well, not built an airline, but he's developed an airline through his creativity. He's developed many businesses. He's failed and tried again and worked his way out tenaciously till he's actually achieved a lot of things. And he's written books, funny enough. He's done, and so many things that people in school probably might say a dyslexic person shouldn't be able to do technically, or if you know what I mean, or I don't know if that's the right way of putting it, but or that you wouldn't expect a dyslexic person to be able to, in other words. And again, like, he's probably co-authored, but he still managed to write books and build massive businesses, and managed to meet politicians. He's had political influence. He's managed to do a lot for charity and influence other dyslexic people, and run organizations and be part of organizations and have a big voice. And he's talked positively about dyslexia, and yeah, he has huge networks, and he's found ways to work around his weaknesses. And he's not the only dyslexic person who's done well, because if he was the only one, you could say it's an anomaly, if that's the right word, or you could say it's very unusual for dyslexic people to do well. But he's one of many. Like I mentioned before, like 20% of self-made millionaires in the UK are dyslexic. 35% in America apparently are dyslexic, and they all have their own stories. And again, in other areas like in sports and different areas, there are many dyslexic people, and with the right support, I'm sure many more dyslexic people could even achieve in the future. So and many people say that the strengths in the future are going to be more, they're going to be less of the left brain, or normal if you like, or neurotypical or non-dyslexic sort of brains, and they're going to be more towards, apparently, so some people say, towards the things that are more visual and more creative and out of the box thinking, which are more strengths that dyslexic and ADHD people have. And you can't really teach them academically, and they're not judged, they're not marked academically, and so dyslexic people are put off. But if they're given the right encouragement, I think we can do a lot of great things. So as ever, I'd love to hear what you think about this video, and hopefully it wasn't too cringeworthy. And I'm a bit disappointed I haven't achieved many of my goals, but hopefully throughout this week and next week I will achieve a lot more. As I'm dyslexic, I need extra time. So anyway, I am out. Peace and love.